What if I told you the Bible's most repeated metaphor, the seed, wasn't just spiritual poetry, but a literal survival manual? Ancient texts mention seeds over 40 times, not as allegory, but as medicine. Populations with no pharmacies, no refrigeration, no hospitals depended on these tiny, shelf-stable capsules to survive plagues, famines, and chronic pain. Modern research has now cracked the code. These seeds contain concentrated phytochemicals that target inflammation, oxidative stress, and metabolic dysfunction, the root causes of nearly every chronic disease. Today I'm counting down 10 biblical seeds that ancient peoples revered, science has validated, and you can use starting today. Let's begin. We're going in ascending order, starting with the familiar and building to the most powerful. When we hit number 5, I'll show you the one seed King Solomon called a blessing above all herbs, and why cardiologists are now obsessed with it. Number 2 was used to anoint kings and contains the only compound in this list that crosses the blood-brain barrier. And number 1, it's mentioned in both the parable of the mustard seed and Ezekiel's vision, because it does something no other seed can do. But first, let's start with something you probably already have. Number 10. Coriander. Most people know the leaves as cilantro, but the seeds are where the medicine hides. This is your digestive enzyme activator and heavy metal chelator. Exodus 16:31 describes manna as white, like coriander seed. Not just a visual comparison, but a functional one. Ancient Egyptians packed coriander into tombs because they believed it aided digestion in the afterlife. They weren't wrong about the digestion part. The seeds contain linalool and dodecanol, compounds that stimulate your liver to produce bile and actually bind to heavy metals like lead and mercury, escorting them out of your system. Research shows traditional medicine systems across 3 continents use coriander for bloating and gut motility for one reason. It works. Crush whole seeds fresh and steep them as tea, or chew a pinch after heavy meals. Here's the catch. Pre-ground coriander loses potency within weeks. Those volatile oils that do the work evaporate fast. Buy whole, crush fresh. Generally safe, but it may lower blood sugar, so if you're on diabetes medication, monitor closely. Number 9. Fenugreek. Ancient Egyptians listed this in medicinal papyri for childbirth recovery. Talmudic texts mention it as food for nursing mothers. There's a reason. This seed is a lactation enhancer and blood sugar stabilizer rolled into one. Inside fenugreek is a compound called 4-hydroxyacetyleucine that directly stimulates insulin secretion in your pancreatic beta cells, the cells that regulate blood sugar. It also contains galactomannan fiber, which slows glucose absorption in your gut. Meta-analyses show people with type 2 diabetes see a 10 to 20% reduction in fasting blood glucose with regular use. Soak the seeds overnight in water, grind them into paste or steep as tea. The bitter taste tells you the saponins are intact. That's what you want. Sweet varieties are less potent. One warning, do not use during pregnancy. Fenugreek stimulates the uterus. Also, at high doses it can make your sweat smell like maple syrup. Not dangerous, just memorable. Number 8. Sesame seeds. Cuneiform tablets from ancient Assyria called these the food of the gods. Babylonian warriors ate sesame halva before battle for sustained energy. This seed is your bone density supporter and cholesterol modulator. Sesame contains sesamin and sesamolin, lignans that inhibit an enzyme called delta-5 desaturase, which reduces production of inflammatory arachidonic acid in your body. Translation: less chronic inflammation. They're also packed with calcium and magnesium, which activate osteoblasts, the cells that build bone. Studies show daily sesame consumption reduces LDL cholesterol by 6 to 9%. Eat them raw, lightly toasted in salads, as tahini, or drizzle sesame oil. The unhulled brown seeds contain more lignans than the white-hulled version. The trade-off is flavour. Brown is nuttier and slightly bitter, white is milder. One caution, sesame is one of the top allergens. If you react to tree nuts or seeds, avoid it. Number 7. Pomegranate seeds. Deuteronomy 8:8. List pomegranate as one of the 7 species of Israel, the sacred foods that define the Promised Land. The high priest's robe in Exodus was embroidered with pomegranates and bells, a symbol of fertility and abundance. This is your vascular rejuvenator and antioxidant powerhouse. The seeds contain punicalagins, compounds that increase nitric oxide in your blood vessels. Nitric oxide causes vasodilation. Your arteries relax and widen, which improves blood flow and lowers blood pressure. The L-argitannins in pomegranate also reduce oxidative damage to arterial walls. Randomized trials show 12 to 30% improvement in endothelial function after 3 months of pomegranate consumption. Eat the fresh arils raw, drink unsweetened juice, or use dried seeds as spice. Deep red arils mean higher polyphenol content. Avoid sweetened juice. It negates the metabolic benefits. If you're on blood pressure medication, pomegranate can enhance the effect, so monitor your levels. Pause here. If you want more videos that decode ancient practices with modern science, no fluff, no hype, just evidence, subscribe now. These seeds are just the beginning. Number 6. Caraway seeds. Isaiah 28. 25 through 27 describes caraway as a cultivated crop that required careful threshing, a sign that even in ancient agriculture people knew this seed was worth the extra effort. Medieval monks used it as a digestive aid after heavy meals. This is your gut motility enhancer and bloating reliever. Caraway contains carvane and limonene, compounds that relax smooth muscle tissue in your GI tract, an antispasmodic effect. They also stimulate your stomach lining to produce protective mucus. A meta-analysis shows caraway reduces IBS symptoms, bloating, cramping, by 50% compared to placebo. Chew the seeds whole, brew them as tea, or add them to fermented foods like sauerkraut and rye bread. Whole seeds stay potent for over 2 years. Ground caraway loses its volatile oils fast, so grind fresh or buy whole. Generally safe, though it may enhance the effect of acid-reducing medications. Number 5. Nigella sativa. You might know it as black cumin or black seed. Islamic tradition calls it the cure for every disease except death. It was found in King Tut's tomb, placed there as a burial essential for health in the afterlife. Some scholars believe this is the Fitches mentioned in Isaiah 28:25. This seed is a multi-pathway immune modulator and anti-inflammatory, unlike anything else on this list. Inside Nigella sativa is thymoquinone, a compound that inhibits NF-κB, the master inflammatory switch in your cells. It modulates T-cell activity, enhances natural killer cells, and sensitizes insulin receptors. Over 1,000 peer-reviewed studies have examined this seed. Research shows significant effects on asthma, allergies, metabolic syndrome, and autoimmune markers. Use cold-pressed oil, 1 teaspoon daily, steep whole seeds in tea, or grind them into honey. Cold-pressed, unrefined oil contains the highest thymoquinone content. Heat destroys it. Generally safe, but it may lower blood pressure and blood sugar, so if you're medicated for either, monitor your levels. This is the seed ancient kings and modern cardiologists agree on. Number 4. Flax seeds. Ancient Babylon cultivated flax so successfully that King Charlemagne eventually mandated flax consumption across his empire for health. Proverbs 31:13 references flax as both fiber and food, dual-purpose survival. This seed is your hormonal balancer and cardiovascular protector. Flax contains lignans, specifically SDG, which your gut bacteria convert into enterolactone. Enterolactone modulates estrogen receptors, offering protection against hormone-driven cancers. Flax also provides alpha-linolenic acid, an omega-3 that reduces platelet aggregation. Your blood is less likely to clot inappropriately. A Cochrane review shows flax lowers blood pressure by 2 to 5 millimeters of mercury and reduces LDL cholesterol by 10% with 30 grams daily. Grind the seeds fresh and add them to smoothies, yogurt, or baked goods. Whole seeds pass through undigested. Once ground, flax oxidizes within hours, so store it in the freezer. Golden and brown varieties are nutritionally equivalent. High fiber content means start with 1 tablespoon and increase gradually. Drink extra water to prevent constipation. Quick favor, if this information is landing, if you're realizing you've overlooked something powerful, hit the like button. It tells YouTube to show this to people who need it, not just people who want entertainment. Number 3. Cumin seeds. Isaiah 28:25 and Matthew 23:23. Both mention cumin. In Matthew, the Pharisees tithed it because it was that valuable. Ancient Egyptians and Romans wrote about using cumin for digestion and vigor. This is your metabolic accelerator and iron bioavailability enhancer. Cumin contains cuminaldehyde, which increases secretion of pancreatic enzymes, lipase and amylase, that break down fats and carbohydrates. It's also unusually high in iron, and because the iron comes packaged with vitamin C in the plant matrix, your body absorbs it far better than isolated supplements. Randomized trials show overweight adults lose 3 to 5% body fat and improve lipid profiles after 3 months of using 3 grams daily. Toast whole seeds and grind them fresh, or steep as tea, Jira water. Freshly toasted cumin has 3 times more volatile oils than stale. If the seeds turn black, you've over-toasted them and they'll taste bitter. May enhance the blood sugar lowering effect of diabetes medication, so monitor if you're on those. Number 2. Grape seeds. Most people spit these out. Ancient peoples didn't. Grapes are listed in Deuteronomy 8:8 as one of the 7 species, and wine production was central to biblical culture. The ancient practice was to leave seeds intact during winemaking. Fermentation released the proanthocyanidins locked inside. This seed is your cognitive protector and collagen stabilizer. Grape seeds contain oligomeric proanthocyanidins, or OPCs. These are small enough to cross the blood-brain barrier. Once in neural tissue, they neutralize free radicals and inhibit amyloid beta aggregation, one of the pathways in Alzheimer's disease. OPCs also cross-link collagen fibers, which maintain skin elasticity and vascular integrity. Studies show improved memory scores and reduced oxidative stress markers in aging populations. Chew them thoroughly, they're bitter, or grind into powder or take as grapeseed extract supplement. Red and purple grape seeds contain more OPCs than green. The bitter taste confirms high OPC content. May enhance blood-thinning medications through vitamin K antagonism, so check with your doctor if you're on those. Here's what's wild. The number 1 seed is also the smallest. Ancient texts weren't exaggerating when they said great things come from small beginnings. Number 1, mustard seeds. This is the faith-sized seed with system-wide detoxification and anti-cancer pathways. Jesus used this seed in one of his most famous parables, Matthew 13, Mark 4, Luke 13, describing it as the smallest seed that grows into the greatest plant. Ezekiel's vision references it as symbolic of kingdom growth from humble beginnings. Scripture chose this seed for a reason. Mustard seeds contain glucosinolates, which convert into isothiohyonates when you crush or chew them. These compounds activate phase 2 detoxification enzymes in your liver, specifically glutathione S-transferase, which neutralizes carcinogens and toxins. Isothiocyanates also induce apoptosis in abnormal cells and inhibit Helicobacter pylori, the bacteria that causes ulcers. Epidemiological data links cruciferous seed consumption to 20 to 30% reduced risk of gastric, colorectal, and lung cancers. Use whole seeds in pickling, grind into mustard paste, or sprout them as microgreens. Yellow, brown, and black mustard vary in pungency. Black contains the highest glucosinolate content. Grinding plus moisture activates the enzyme myrosinase, which converts the glucosinolates into their active form. May interact with thyroid medication at very high doses due to goitrogenic compounds, but this is rare in normal culinary use. Here's what this list proves. The Bible wasn't writing poetry when it mentioned seeds 40 plus times. Ancient peoples didn't have the language of phytochemicals or lignans or isothiocyanates, but they had observation. They saw that these tiny, shelf-stable capsules kept them alive through famine, disease, and war. Modern science didn't discover anything new, it just gave us the vocabulary to explain what survival already taught. Every seed on this list is a concentrated pharmacy, designed by nature, endorsed by history, and validated by research. The question isn't whether they work, it's whether you'll use them. Tonight, take 1 seed you already own, coriander, cumin, sesame, flax, and crush it between your fingers. Smell it. That aroma? Those are volatile oils, the same medicinal compounds ancient peoples relied on. Tomorrow, add a teaspoon to your food or tea. That's it. 1 seed, 1 day. Build from there. Which of these 10 seeds is already in your kitchen right now? Drop it in the comments. I'm curious how many of you are sitting on biblical medicine without realizing it.